The MCU, or Marvel Cinematic Universe, is a highly popular series that showcases a wide range of supernatural powers to tell stories and create a complex yet intriguing timeline. Wanda Maximoff, who entered the timeline later, made significant contributions to the overall strength and importance of the female characters. There aren't many female characters with power in the MCU, but the ones that exist within it pack quite a punch. Wanda Maximoff is the greatest example of this, as she is arguably the strongest character in all of the MCU. Her character is given much depth, and her power grows as she learns to control it and use it. However, as her character grows, she is made out to be a villain. The way she dealt with her grief was seen as insane or unreasonable. In the article, A Cultural History of Anti-Feminism in Marvel's Scarlet Witch, the author, Madison Kuba, writes about how Wanda is criticized and shamed by other characters because she expressed her anger and grief. Even Miss Marvel, a female character in the MCU, condemned Wanda for how she grieves. This shows that society has created a misogynistic environment where women must keep their emotions to themselves. Wanda's power is not inherently bad, but rather it is due to the way she is stereotyped and treated for expressing her emotions that she is portrayed as the villain. Wanda Maximoff had one of, if not the toughest, lives out of all of the characters. Beginning in her childhood, Wanda had a reason for her hatred of the Avengers. Her parents were killed by a Stark Industries bomb when she and her twin brother were very young. Wanda and her brother then became experimented on by Hydra, where she gained most of her abilities. Wanda became a villain, fighting alongside Ultron until she discovered that Ultron wanted to completely wipe out the human race. Wanda and her brother transitioned to the good side of the fight. Her brother, Pietro, sacrificed his own life to save an Avenger, causing Wanda to experience an intense amount of grief and more hatred towards the Avengers. Her power practically explodes out of her, creating surges of power, and this is the beginning of Wanda's powers being connected to evil and negative connotations. While fighting for the good side, Wanda accidentally kills civilians, and she is automatically labeled as dangerous and out of control. She is placed on house arrest, and the Avengers treat her as defective. Meanwhile, the other members of the Avengers accidentally kill civilians constantly, yet they are praised for it. Wanda experiences one of her deepest points of grief when she is forced to destroy the Infinity Stone that keeps her husband, Vision, alive, killing him in turn. Thanos then rewinds time and forces Wanda to watch him die once more. She proves that she is the most powerful when she almost kills Thanos by herself, which no Avenger would be able to do alone. The MCU showcases the magnitude of her power during this event, and the way her power is viewed slightly changes. When Wanda mourns Vision, she releases another intense wave of power, her strongest one, and she creates something called the Hex. She brings her husband back to life and her new children, twin boys, while taking a whole town of people under her control. By the end of WandaVision, the show based on the Hex, Wanda is forced to give up her family and release the people trapped in the Hex. This is the beginning of Wanda being viewed as evil. Her desire for motherhood defines Wanda Maximoff's timeline, especially in the latter. She is seen as a character who acts off of emotion and is underestimated throughout the movies and series in the MCU that she appears in. In the Multiverse of Madness, she longs for her children who exist in different multiverses. Her journey to find her children begins peacefully, especially considering that she just lost them and her husband Vision. It isn't until Doctor Strange attempts to stop her that she uses her power to find what she feels she deserves. According to Madison Kuba, Strange diminishes her powers by asking the Avengers if they can, quote, understand the delicate mindset of a woman, unquote, and, quote, she played mommy, unquote. Strange does not give her grief credibility or substance simply because he thinks she is fragile and just wants children. She lost her husband, brother, and her children, yet she is expected to suppress those feelings and keep smiling. She is powerful for many reasons. She does not let her emotions cause her to lose control when she fights in her battles. Her opponent's underestimation of her allows her to be even harder to defeat. Her deep desire to have a family drives most of her decisions. Wanda's power is unique, and no one else has power like her. She cares about her family so deeply that she created an entire separate reality where she has children and Vision is alive. She is also controlling the minds of all the people who existed in the town she took control over. Wanda is both a witch and a warrior. She is made out to be crazy because of the misogyny that some of the male characters embody. Wanda is a warrior because she never backs down from a fight. She is willing to risk everything to fight for what she believes in. To the people who are closest to her, she would do anything to protect them. Wanda was surrounded and shaped by the need to survive her entire life. She grew up around war, yet she is not deterred from conflict if she must fight. Her trauma provides her with strength and perseverance. Wanda does not only have magical powers, but she was taught how to fight combatively with her powers. Wanda is also very disciplined when it comes to her emotions. Wanda is a witch because she was born with the magic she possesses. Her power is a part of her and provides her with a sense of self. Wanda fits the stereotype of a witch because she is labeled as chaotic or emotional. She is able to bend the rules to how she sees fit and defy barriers placed upon her. To narrow Wanda and her powers to her strongest moments, I think it is important to discuss her attack on Camartage. The scene begins with Wanda's arrival. The warriors at Camartage had previously prepared for her attack, and they had their defense shields set up. Strange floats up to Wanda in the sky to try and negotiate peace. When Strange refuses to give up America Chavez and states that all of Camartage is against her, Wanda feels betrayed. Strange attempts to convince Wanda that what she is doing is unreasonable. Wanda explains that considering everything she's been through, this is her being reasonable. She cannot infringe on their barrier until she telepathically speaks to one of the sorcerers, telling him to run. It causes a hole in the defense, where she infiltrates, destroys the shield, and attacks the fortress, causing them to run for cover. She heads straight for America when Strange traps her in a mirror dimension. She uses the reflections of the mirrors to escape and get to where America is. This is another reason why Wanda is a warrior. She is strategic and does not act irrationally. Wanda's powers are viewed as evil because everyone believes she is acting irrationally out of anger and uncontrolled. She also has an unfathomable amount of power, which can be intimidating. They think her intent is malicious, but it only turns bad when she is forced to take that route. The writer of The Multiverse of Madness, Michael Waldron, points out that Wanda has yet to deal with her anger or grief that she experienced throughout her whole life, so he felt that this was the time to have her character act on those emotions. Waldron makes Wanda's power seem very simple and dumbed down. Trey Flynn, an esteemed writer for Collider, makes the case that Wanda's character had great development leading up to the Multiverse of Madness. She had emotional depth and empathy. She was relatable. Once the timeline reached the Multiverse of Madness, Wanda's character was completely diminished into an unforgiving villain. Flynn states that when presented the chance to empower and enhance one of the few female characters, the Multiverse of Madness turns her into a crazy, power-hungry version who becomes surrounded by misogyny. He also believes that by turning Wanda into a spiraling and self-destructive character, Marvel is able to use her for future movies and series to make more money. Marvel turned the most powerful woman protagonist in their franchise into an unstable villain with the inability to properly deal with her emotions. They made her a destructive force constructed out of pure rage. Women in the film industry are constantly being demoted. Marvel was unable to keep such an important and strong woman on the right side of the fight. They had to turn her evil. Wanda's story is very fitting to the standard that society places on females. Wanda can't just be by herself and fight for a team in that regard. Her purpose revolves around her husband and her children, the family life. This ultimately goes to show that even as we move forward in time, ideologies that existed long ago are still ever prevalent. I also think that her later use of power was created to make her a pure villainess. The Multiverse of Madness portrays Wanda at the height of her power. No one else has lived through the grievances she experienced in her life, so to the outside world, she looks evil and malicious. However, she is fighting for her family, and no one on the good side is willing to let her find them. The timeline of Wanda poses the audience a question about whether or not women should have the power, especially women with emotional depth. While Wanda's timeline is not officially over, the audience is left with a pretty dramatic turn of events in Wanda's life. Wanda realizes her grief was extreme and that she would only be endangering her children if she had them. She destroys the Darkhold entirely, which provided her with the dark powers that she possessed. The last scene that we are left with that includes Wanda is her bringing a mountain down onto herself, which could be interpreted as her saving everyone else and her killing herself. This again aligns with the stereotypical nature of a female with power that we see across all of film. The woman must either make a sacrifice or go on to have a family. Wanda's route was sacrifice, but there is an entire TV series, WandaVision, dedicated to her living out the family route. However, it is not made apparent whether she is actually dead or not. This is made up to the interpretation of the audience. Wanda may still be alive, but in her final moments, she returned to the good side and saved humanity with the ultimate sacrifice.